Hi, it's Zeke with the Eastside Church of Christ, and thanks for joining us with our Eastside Bible reading for the week of April 12th through 18th, 2020. This week we'll finish the book of Judges, we'll finish the book of Luke, as well as getting into the opening chapters of the book of Acts, and of course we'll be reading some Psalms as well. There's a lot going on in this week's reading, so let's get right to it. As we continue making our way through the dark days of the book of Judges, we read about Gideon, who defeated the marauding Midianites with an army of only 300. Now keep in mind that they were men who had actually been whittled down from a force of some 32,000, all in order to affirm that God was the one who was providing the deliverance and not necessarily Gideon or even the 300 men. Sadly, Gideon's story ends in idolatry for himself and for not only his family, but also for other Israelites who got swept up in the idolatry that he began. And he himself spawned a son, a fellow named Abimelech, who was little more than a thug and ruthlessly tried to become king. Next, in quick succession, we come across Tola and Jair, men of whom we know very little about. But next was Jephthah. Jephthah was born as an outsider, and he had no real community among Israel, but his decisive military warrior skills propelled him to a position of leadership, and he was able to do great things for the Israelites against their enemies. But he made a rash vow, and that's what we remember him for. And that rashly made vow cost him dearly, and not only himself, but of course his daughter. And even to this day, the whole situation is shrouded, I should say, in controversy regarding how Jephthah carried out his vow. Was it merely that his daughter remained unmarried? Did he actually sacrifice her, as the vow seems to indicate? Well, you can read that and you can make your own determination about them, but no matter how it turned out, there's no doubt that it was a sad thing. After Jephthah, there was Ibzan, Elon, and Abdon, three more men of whom very little is offered to us. And then finally, we have the sad account of Samson, a tragic figure if there ever was one. Strong in body and just as strong-headed and strong-willed, he seemed to continually flaunt his disregard of the holy vow that he had been born into. And he was especially weak regarding foreign women. In fact, one of those foreign women, the infamous Delilah, will become his downfall. But for all his foolish exploits, God used him to accomplish his purpose against the enemies of his people. Judges 17 and 18 relate to us the account of Micah, an idolatrous Israelite among many idolatrous Israelites, and also the tribe of Dan, who go looking for land outside of their inheritance. Finally, Judges concludes with a bang, literally, with a civil war. It's tribe against tribe, and all because of the very last verse in the book of Judges. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. They were dark days indeed. And speaking of dark days, Luke chapters 22 and 23 tell us of Jesus' preparation for his crucifixion, followed by his arrest, his mistreatment, and the trials that he was given. We see his trek toward Golgotha's hill, his promise to a repentant thief, and his death, followed by his burial. But chapter 24 breaks with a new dawn, and with it the resurrection of the one who lives forever. Luke's gospel ends with an expectation of more to come. We anticipate that there's more, and there is. And he continues telling of Jesus' work that he began to do in his sequel to Luke, which is known to us as the book of Acts. In Acts 1 and Acts 2, we find events that are chock full of importance for us. In fact, Acts chapter 2 is one of the most important chapters in the Bible. The establishment of the church, a community of Jesus followers, is key to everything that follows, and is certainly the fulfillment of all the promises that God has made regarding having a true people of his own. In our Psalms this week, Psalm 17 is a confident prayer for God's help, while Psalm 21 extols God's might and his ability to help his people and bless his people. Psalm 146 not only praises God simply for who he is, but reminds us that those who trust in him are truly blessed. There's so much to read in this week's reading, so much to meditate on and think about. And I thank you so much for joining us this week, and pray that the reading for you will be beneficial. God bless you.